The LA Chargers are 1-3 since Melvin Gordon has returned from holding out. But the story of the year really has been Austin Ekeler. Fantasy points on the season, he's sitting at number 4 in terms of running backs. He's been absolutely dominating, and I have him in 2 of my 2 leagues. So he's been a great guy to really plug and play. It was part of the reason I got more wins earlier than the season than I did later, certainly. But, even if looking at these guys' stats, I mean, Austin Ekeler is pretty much leading in every category. Surprisingly, even in yards per attempt. Melvin Gordon, since his return, is only averaging 2.5 yards per attempt, and Austin Ekeler's at 3.5. So neither these guys are where you would love to see on the ground. And we kind of think of Melvin Gordon being that, close to 5 yards per attempt type of guy. He's your more goal line style back, a little bit more of a bruiser who can catch the ball as well. Whereas we think of Ekeler as more of that, scat back. But he's actually been dominating in both the air and ground game, at least compared to Melvin Gordon. Now, I do think this is a bit of a slow start for Melvin Gordon. He just needs to get the wheels turning a little bit and get some of that rust off. That's part of the downside from holding out is, you aren't in training camp. You aren't in those preseason games and getting a lot of that rust off from the offseason. Do you think that's the case here, Alex? And in terms of if you're the Chargers GM right now, what's kind of your mindset around this backfield and these 2 guys?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation. And if I'm the Chargers GM, I'm still waiting and seeing and waiting for Melvin Gordon to prove that he's worth that deal that he wants. And Melvin Gordon, to me, is actually a buy low candidate. I think he has really underperformed expectations since he has come back, which has kind of masked the fact that he's still put up 7 points you're not too happy with, 7 points you're not too happy with the first 2 weeks. But then his third week, he put up 9 fantasy points, and that was with a fumble on the goal line at the end of the game. So you think about if that one play would have gone to a touchdown, which they actually called back the play before, you're looking at 17 points. And then last week he had a touchdown and scored 11 points. So he's starting to kind of get into these numbers to that RB2 range. And I think he's really picking up some steam here. And with the Chargers firing their offensive coordinator, Ken Wisenhunt, this past week, I think that might be the signal that's saying, hey, we're about to get Melvin Gordon going and we're about to switch some things up and make sure we get him the ball effectively. So I think Melvin Gordon's a good buy low candidate. I expect him to be an RB1 from now on through the rest of the year. And then with Austin Ekeler, I think he's still going to be fine. As a PPR, RB2 or a flex option. Just because when we saw Melvin Gordon come back, here's the 4 weeks that Ekeler's put up in PPR since Melvin Gordon came back. He had 22 on 15 catches. It literally looks like a glitch on my app. 15 catches. So 22 points, then he had 5 points. You're not too happy with that. But then he had 25 points and 10 points. And almost all of these fantasy points came through the air. So even if the new offensive coordinator gets Melvin Gordon going through the air a little bit and gets his snap count up and gets his touches up, I think Ekeler still has value as an RB2.